Imagine this. You're trapped deep underground. It's absolute darkness. Nothing but the sound of your own breathing, maybe panicked, echoing around you.
Yeah, terrifying.
The air's thick, humid, heavy. Silence so deep it almost feels loud, and every heartbeat just thuds with this raw, suffocating despair.
Total helplessness, completely at the mercy of, well, you don't even know who.
Exactly. But what if, right there, in that crushing void, that despair, hitting rock bottom, what if that led to some kind of incredible discovery? Something almost unbelievable.
A whisper of forgotten power, maybe?
Yeah, something that didn't just change your immediate situation, but changed everything. Who you are, where you're going.
Well, that's exactly the kind of gripping scenario we're diving into headfirst today.
Okay.
Our deep dive is all about the story of Ling Wuchang. He's this renowned swordsman, right? But his story here starts with utter helplessness, profound despair. We're unpacking these fascinating excerpts from Whispers of the Heart, an anthology of love's echoes. And it's a narrative that, well, it's going to challenge your perceptions of power, morality, and really dig into survival, identity, unexpected destiny. It's quite a ride.
Sounds intense.
Oh, it is. Get ready for brutal imprisonment, some really baffling mistaken identity, and the completely accidental acquisition of this legendary but also deeply dangerous martial art.
Okay, let's unpack this first part then.
Ah.
We talk about hitting rock bottom, but this is like literal rock bottom, isn't it?
Absolutely. Chained, underground, pitch black.
So our story just throws us straight into Ling Wuchang's nightmare. He wakes up, head pounding. There's this memory of an ear-splitting noise fading away.
Leaving just silence.
Oppressive silence. He tries to stand, but he's got no strength. His internal injuries from previous fights have left him really feeble.
Yeah, completely drained.
And his first thought, you could almost hear the dread, is, I must be dead, buried in a tomb. But then he realizes, no, not dead, not yet. He's on this cold, hard iron slab. There's like a thin straw mat, but it offers zero comfort.
Right.
And when he moves, clink, clink. Thin iron chains. Wrists and ankles.
Oh. So it's real.
It's real. And it's not just any prison. It's this mysterious underground dungeon. And then this terrifying idea hits him.
What's that?
It might be the same place where the formidable old man Ren Wuxing, this legendary figure, is supposedly held for years.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that adds a whole new layer of dread, doesn't it? Not just imprisonment, but potentially that imprisonment.
Or ever.
Exactly. That thought must be crushing.
Yeah, and this initial helplessness is absolutely crucial for his whole story, his whole arc. Think about the contrast.
Yeah.
He's a master swordsman, known everywhere for his skill, his speed, his kind of carefree attitude.
Right, the Dugu Nine Swords Master.
Exactly. But here, in this tomb, he's stripped of all of it. Physically chained, yes, but also wrecked by these internal injuries. He's weak, vulnerable.
So he's got nothing he usually relies on. Precisely. And that forces him to look inward. Literally in the dark, but also figuratively. What resources does he really have? It kind of subverts the usual martial arts thing, you know?
How so?
Well, instead of some flashy escape fight, it's immediately this brutal battle of endurance. Mental strength. Cunning.
Just trying to survive the situation itself.
Yeah. And it raises that question, doesn't it? What defines a hero when their main skills, their whole identity, are useless? What's left?
That's deep. And his desperation, you said it's palpable.
Oh, completely. He calls out, Old Man Ren, Grandmaster, Fourth Master. His voice is raw, just hoping for any response.
Nothing.
Nothing. Just his own voice echoing back, swallowed by the dark. And that isolation, the idea of being trapped forever like Ren Wuxing might have been, it just crushes him.
Leading to him actually vomiting blood.
Yeah, a physical reaction to the despair and probably aggravating those internal injuries too. It shows just how bad things are.
And time just melts away down there.
Yeah.
Like days, weeks.
Bleeding into one another, total darkness, humid, awful. Food gets delivered through this small square hole, pushed in by this mysterious, silent, white-haired old man he's never seen.
Okay, a bit creepy.
Very. And Ling Wuchang, at first, he's just enraged, right? He smashes the food. It's this act of defiance, but it also confirms for him, like, okay, I'm here for the long haul.
But eventually, hunger wins out, I imagine.
Of course. And maybe a desperate need for any kind of connection. So later, he tries to talk to the old man.
Yeah.
And he makes this truly gruesome discovery. The old man isn't just deaf. He's had half his tongue cut out.
Oh my God. Seriously.
Seriously. It's a horrifying detail. And it immediately tells Ling Wuchang, and us about the cold-blooded cruelty of his captors. This isn't just keeping someone locked up.
No, it's psychological torture. It's
For
dehumanizing.
yes. And that fury Ling Huchang felt, it turns outwards. He starts burning with this desire for revenge against the 4 scoundrels of Jiangyan, the Jiangxiyu. He vows to blind them, mutilate them, just like they did to the old man.
Wow. Understandable, I guess, given what he's seeing.
Yeah, and that scene with the mutilated old man, it subtly foreshadows the true nature of these captors, the Jiangnan Siyu.
The 4 friends of Jiangyan. Sounds refined.
Outwardly, yes. They're presented as these, like, high-class scholars, masters of music, chess, calligraphy, painting, the height of culture.
But their actions.
Utterly ruthless, devoid of humanity. As shown by this dungeon, this old man, Ling Huchang actually remembers something his master said.
What was that?
True villains are often intelligent and talented. It fits perfectly here. These aren't just thugs. They're sophisticated torturers.
Which somehow makes it even more chilling.
It really does. It highlights that whole theme of deceptive appearances in the martial world. Evil can wear a very cultured mask.
So time passes. The summer heat builds up. Humidity's awful.
Unbearable in that closed space.
And Ling Huchang, just looking for any kind of distraction, any relief, lies naked on the cold iron slab.
Yeah.
Trying to escape the damp straw.
Right, just a basic act of trying to find some physical comfort.
And that's when he notices something.
Yeah.
On the slab itself, at first he thought they were just patterns, maybe decorative.
Uh-huh.
But after lying there, maybe for hours, maybe days, skin pressed against the metal, he sees words, imprinted on his own skin from the slab.
Whoa, like a temporary tattoo?
Exactly. 4 words, mirrored,
Washing bacon.
meaning
I washing am trapped.
Renwoxing, the old man Ren.
It's a message from the previous prisoner, left right there on the slab.
Wow. Talk about a chilling discovery. And the way he finds it, it's fascinating, isn't it? Not some grand moment.
No, totally accidental. Just try and cool off.
Yeah, born of necessity, discomfort. It makes the knowledge feel really personal, like it's earned. Like the dungeon itself whispered its secret onto his skin.
So he starts deciphering more, slowly, meticulously,
Right, tracing the characters in the dark, figuring them out.
and realizes it's not just that message, it's a whole martial arts manual carved there. The legendary Absorb Star.
The Absorb Star Great Law. Okay. So finally, a way out. Skills. Well, it starts with sitting meditation. Focuses entirely on internal energy. And Ling Huchang's initial reaction is disappointment, maybe even frustration.
Why? Isn't internal energy good?
He's a swordsman. He needs sword skills to break chains, fight guards, right? Not internal energy work, especially since his current internal energy is a chaotic mess, causing him constant pain.
Ah, right. The injuries from the Tao Valley's 6 Immortals and Monk Bukai, that volatile key.
Exactly. So internal energy cultivation seems useless, even dangerous for him right now.
And then it gets even weirder, doesn't it? The core principle.
Oh, completely counterintuitive. It tells him to disperse internal energy from his dantian, to make it empty.
Empty, but the dantian is where you store ki. It's the power source.
I know. It's like telling a runner to empty their lungs before a race. It goes against everything martial artists learn. Accumulate ki, strengthen the dantian. That's the usual way.
So his skill says, just get rid of it. Like a hollow bamboo. An empty valley.
That's the description. Ling Huchang thinks it's got to be a joke. Or worse, a trap.
A trap left by Renwoxing to mess with whoever finds it.
That's what he suspects. What kind of fool would just throw away all the internal energy they worked so hard for? This must be a trick. That's pretty much his thought process. He's incredibly skeptical.
Understandably so. It sounds like self-sabotage.
So he's baffled,
I
right?
guess.
Maybe even a bit angry, thinking this is some cruel prank left by Renwoxing.
Oh,
But here's the kicker, the massive irony.
okay.
Ling Huchang is already suffering from this chaotic, conflicting internal energy, the stuff no one could fix.
Right. Dr. Ping Yizi gave up. Grandmaster Feng Zheng said only the mythical Yi Jing could maybe help.
Exactly. He's this walking disaster zone of volatile ki, constant pain, nausea, dizziness. And then one night he's having this feverish dream.
Mm-hmm.
And almost unconsciously, inadvertently, he follows the Absorb Star instructions from the slab. He disperses his ki in the dream.
What happens when he wakes up?
He wakes up feeling refreshed.
No.
Yes. The pain is lessened. The dizziness is gone. The internal injuries, the chaos that was killing him, the thing nobody could cure. This weird, counterintuitive skill is actually healing him.
That's incredible. The poison is the antidote for him.
It's his aha. moment.
Mm-hmm.
A total miracle. The relief must have been unbelievable. He actually feels so good he starts singing.
Singing in the dungeon.
Yeah. Though apparently quite hoarsely, because he'd been deliberately shouting for days to rough up his voice.
Right, for his plan to impersonate Renwaxing later. Clever.
But yeah, the skill Renwaxing probably carved there to harm others or maybe just document his own flawed power has ironically become Ling Huchang's salvation. It fixed what no Orthodox master could.
So, with this amazing, life-altering realization, the Absorbed Star Great Law keeps healing him. He gets stronger, more comfortable day by day.
And he fully gets the irony now, right? He even thinks, you left this stuff to harm people, Renwaxing, but it ended up saving me.
Yeah, a pretty profound turnaround. And this sparks a plan, doesn't it? A really audacious one.
Totally. He decides he's going to use the text on the slab, the very thing saving him, to deceive Black and White when he comes back.
Okay, turn the tables. How?
He starts practicing the Absorbed Star Great Law relentlessly. Not just for healing, but to really understand it, especially the flawed, dangerous parts Renwaxing might have included. He memorizes those specifically.
Smart. Know your enemy's weapon.
And then, get this, in this act of amazing selflessness, considering he's still chained in a dungeon, he uses his iron shackle to scratch out parts of the engraved text.
Scratch them out. Why?
To make them unreadable, so future prisoners won't be harmed by the flawed or dangerous bits. He's thinking about people he'll never even meet.
Wow. That really shows his character, doesn't it? He's not just a victim anymore. He's a survivor, a strategist, and fundamentally decent.
Yeah, even in that hellhole.
Absolutely. He finds opportunity in adversity and still thinks of others. And all this practice is making him stronger, healing him, though he probably still doesn't grasp the full nature of the skill yet. Just that it heals him and has these weird energy principles.
He's about to find out more, though. 3 days pass, he's practiced, he's planned.
Yeah.
And then Black and White shows up.
Okay, showtime.
The tension must be thick. Black and White comes in, apologizes for being gone so long, blames Yellow Bell, another one of the 4 friends.
Still acting deferential.
Totally respectful.
Yeah.
He still thinks Ling Huchang is Old Man Ren, and then he makes the offer, teach me the great law and I'll release you.
The moment Ling Huchang's been waiting for.
Exactly. And Ling Huchang plays it perfectly. Feigns anger, demands payment, good wine and fat chicken.
Bargaining for food. Classic.
He even negotiates specific amounts. So much wine, so much chicken per 4 lines of teaching. It's partly to test Black and White's desperation, partly just buying time, messing with him.
Brilliant psychological game, exploiting the guy's greed and fear. So what does he teach him?
First, he gives him 4 lines of the Absorbed Star Great Law, but inverted. Completely useless.
Okay. Does Black and White fall for it?
Nah, he finds them too ordinary. This can't be the legendary skill, he thinks. So Ling Huchang ups the ante. He gives him 4 really alarming lines. Stuff about shattering Yang Wei, blocking Yin meridians, basically instructions that would destroy your internal pathways and kill you horribly.
Whoa. That's playing with fire.
Totally. And Black and White immediately gets suspicious. Is this really Renwaxing? Has he gone mad? Is this a trap? He starts questioning things.
The danger here is immense for Ling Huchang, if Black and White figures it out.
He's dead. Simple as that.
Yeah.
But Ling Huchang's already facing what he thinks is a death sentence from his injuries or just rotting in there. So he takes this calculated risk, weaponizing the situation.
Using Black and White's own ambition against him, it's incredibly tense.
It gets even more tense. Black and White is probing, trying to verify things. Ling Huchang sees his chance. He needs to act decisively.
What does he do?
He fakes a stumble, pretends to lose his balance near the square food hole, and in that movement, he draws Black and White's hand right into the open, and then bang, grabs his wrist. That's surprising strength.
Just to scare him or hurt him.
Probably just to scare him, maybe injure him a bit, vent some rage. But what happens next is unexpected and world-changing for Ling Huchang.
What? What happened?
This incredible surge of power, this vortex of energy, flows from Black and White's wrist into Ling Huchang.
He absorbs his energy. Accidentally.
Exactly. Black and White is utterly terrified. He instantly recognizes it. The Absorbed Star Great Law. He shrieks it. He thought only Renwaxing could do that. He's being drained.
This is it. The big reveal of the skill's true nature.
This is the moment. His healing, his growing strength, now this accidental absorption. It all clicks. The Absorbed Star Great Law doesn't just manipulate Carrie, it steals it.
That explains Renwaxing's legendary power and why it's so dangerous.
Right. And Black and White panics, completely loses it. He tries this massive counterattack kick, Jiao Long Chu and Flood Dragon emerging from the abyss, meant to shatter Ling Huchang's chest.
But the door.
The iron door is in the way. In his terror, he smashes his own foot against it, breaks his toes. And while he's reeling from that, his internal energy is just pouring into Ling Huchang. He faints from the pain, the shock, the energy drain.
Wow. What a sequence. So Ling Huchang accidentally masters the core function of the skill and takes out his captor in one go.
Pretty much. But it also foreshadows the danger, right? That this power is immense, maybe uncontrollable, a double-edged sword.
Absolutely. A source of power, but maybe a source of future problems, too.
So Black and White is down. Ling Huchang, maybe a bit stunned himself, instinctively uses his chains, to bind his now unconscious captor.
Poetic justice right there.
Definitely. And then as the adrenaline fades, he has another realization, even bigger maybe.
What now?
He looks at the square hole, the food hole, where Black and White's hand just was, and he realizes his head can fit through it.
Okay.
And if his head fits, his whole body can fit.
No, he could have gotten out all along.
All along. He was a prisoner of his own perception, so focused on the absorbed star great law, so resigned to his fate maybe, that he missed the obvious escape route right in front of him.
That's amazing, the classic unaware hero moment. Too focused on the complex problem to see the simple solution.
Totally. So, quick as a flash, he swaps clothes with the unconscious Black and White, puts the guy in the chains, leaves him there,
Takes his identity,
his sword, his oil lamp, slips out through the hole, and then discovers the main dungeon doors aren't even locked, just unlatched. He just walks out into the night, a free man.
Unbelievable. And later he finds saw marks on the shackles.
Yeah, faint marks. He realizes someone secretly helped loosen them. He suspects Dan Qingsheng, the winemate, one of the four friends who seemed a bit more decent.
So even in that darkness, there was a glimmer of help he didn't even know about. It highlights that idea again, doesn't it? Extraordinary power or hardship doesn't automatically give you all the answers. Sometimes you miss the obvious.
And the irony. The chains meant to hold him become part of his escape plan. The power gained because of his imprisonment frees him, and he walks out wearing his captor's clothes. Wild.
So Ling Huchang steps out, disguised as Black and White, a devil cult subordinate. And who does he run into almost immediately?
The other GNCU, right?
Yeah.
Yellow Bell, Tubi Wang, and Dan Qingsheng, the guy he suspects helped him.
Exactly. And they're not alone for long. 4 imposing figures show up, dressed in black, yellow sashes, high-ranking devil cult elders. One is named Bao Dachu. Sounds particularly nasty.
Okay, so the tension ramps right back up.
Instantly, suffocatingly. These elders are there to investigate. An important prisoner has apparently escaped.
The real Ren Waxing.
The real Ren Waxing. The Jianyansiu are terrified. They deny everything, plead ignorance, but the elders aren't buying it.
And they punish them.
Brutally, with the blue sand hand. Those poisoned palm strikes we talked about. Just like that. A chilling display of the cult's ruthless discipline.
And Ling Huchang is just standing there dressed as one of them.
Right in the middle of it, masquerading as Black and White, the very guy whose prisoner just escaped, or so they think. The pressure must be immense.
That blue sand hand sounds awful, causes extreme pain, trembling.
Exactly. It's described as infiltrating the meridians, agonizing pain, muscle spasms, a tool of control, maximum suffering without necessarily killing you right away. It shows the hierarchy starkly. The Jianyansiu, powerful in their own right, are nothing to these elders.
And the elders serve someone even higher.
Precisely. The tension is incredible. And then, a scream.
From the dungeon.
Piercing scream. It's Black and White, Ling Huchang's double, suffering from the energy drain, and now the blue sand hand poison. They haul him up.
Confirming the elders' fears.
Completely. They're shocked. They realize the important prisoner did use the Absorb Star Great Law on one of their own. And then, the big reveal.
Ren Waxing himself.
The figure emerges from the shadows. With Zhang Wentian, his loyal follower, he announces himself. Ren Waxing, former leader of the Sun Moon Holy Cult, the Devil Cult.
And his power.
Immense, immediate, terrifying. He shatters stone walls with a push, and then, to demonstrate, he uses the Absorbed Star Great Law on one of the elders, Qin Weibang.
What happens?
Drains him completely, right there, reduces him to a withered skeletal husk. Just an empty shell. It's horrifyingly brutal.
Okay, so Ren Waxing is back. And he's not messing around.
Not even slightly. His return is a massive shift in the martial world, like a dragon waking up. His methods, the Absorb Star Great Law, and something even worse.
Worse than that.
The Three Corpses, Brain God Pill, Sanshade, now Shundan.
What on earth is that?
It's nightmarish. Absolute control. It contains these tiny parasitic corpse worms. They lie dormant inside you.
Ugh.
But on the Dragon Boat Festival, if you don't take the specific antidote from Renwaxing, they activate. They don't just cause pain, they erode your mind, twist your fears, your desires, drive you mad, uncontrollable agony, and in the worst cases, cannibalism.
That's monstrous.
It's absolute subjugation, soul-destroying, no free will left. It's Renwaxing's ultimate tool for loyalty, enforced through unimaginable terror.
So he's truly terrifying. And he tells his story about being betrayed.
Yeah, he recounts how Dongfang Bubai, the successor he groomed, betrayed him. Even after Renwaxing taught him the cult's ultimate secret, the Sunflower Treasure Cannon.
Angua, Kuhua Biodian.
Right. He also reveals the flaw in his original Absorb Star Great Law, that backlash problem, the Fincher, where the absorbed chaotic heat turns on you.
But he fixed it.
He says his 12 years in prison gave him the time to perfect it, eliminate the backlash, making him, in his mind, truly invincible.
And Jiang Wentian explains why they didn't rescue Ling Huchang sooner.
Right. Says Renwaxing had strategic things to do first, and it was actually safer for Ling Huchang to stay hidden, acting as the decoy Renwaxing. Plus, Jiang Wentian points out, kind of rightly, that Ling Huchang accidentally got a peerless skill out of the whole ordeal.
Small consolation, maybe. So Renwaxing sees Ling Huchang, knows he has the Absorb Star skill now, knows he helped unwittingly, and makes him an offer.
Offers him a top spot. Right emissary of the devil cult. Huge power.
And Ling Huchang
Refuses. Firmly. Despite the danger to himself, to his old sect, he refuses. Cites his orthodox upbringing, the cult's evil deeds. He stands up to Renwaxing's charm, his threats.
Wow. After everything, gaining this power, escaping death, he still draws that moral line, even against him.
It's a crucial moment, isn't it? He could take the power, the protection, but he won't compromise his integrity. He'd rather face whatever comes next, maybe even believing he's still dying from those old injuries, though the Absorb Star seems to be fixing them, than join them.
That says a lot about him, loyalty to Huashan, even after they kicked him out.
It really does. It's about his core principles, not just rules. He knows Renwaxing might go after Huashan, so refusing is dangerous, but joining is unthinkable for him. He needs a new identity, fast to protect himself, and maybe try to protect them from afar.
His refusal really defines him here, doesn't it? Choosing integrity over power, even when power seems like the only rational choice.
Exactly. It sets him apart. He's not just chasing strength. He's holding on to his sense of self, his moral compass, even in the face of overwhelming force.
Okay, so he needs a new identity. And the way he gets it is, well, it's kind of hilarious after all that intensity.
It really is a much-needed bit of comedy. He runs into this awful military officer, right? General Wu Tiande.
Yeah, described as boorish, corrupt, just thoroughly unpleasant.
And Ling Huchang just completely outwits him, steals his clothes, his fancy beard.
His whole identity. And as a final touch, shaves the guy's beard off and stuffs his mouth with mud.
It's so mischievous. What does that tell us about Ling Huchang? Is it just him blowing off steam after the trauma?
Maybe partly, but it also shows his spirit isn't broken, right?
Absolutely. It's a great moment. It shows his adaptability, his resourcefulness, but also that underlying wit, that resilience. He hasn't become just grim and hardened.
He's still Ling Huchang, even under pressure.
Exactly. He's adapting, but as himself, taking back a little bit of control, even if it's just through a comical prank. But this new identity, General Wu Tiande, it comes with its own problems, doesn't it? Linked to that power he gained.
Yeah, the Absorb Star Great Law. So, as General Wu, he travels around, acting the part perfectly. Loud, arrogant, demanding.
Playing the corrupt official to a T.
But underneath that performance, he's constantly fighting this internal battle. The energy he absorbed, especially from Black and White, it's surging inside him. Chaotically.
Like an internal storm.
Exactly. He has to keep dispersing it, pushing it out into his meridians all the time. If he doesn't, he gets incredibly nauseous, dizzy, like his head's spinning.
So the power demands constant attention, constant management.
Yeah. And this constant circulation, this forced dispersal, while it actually makes him stronger, paradoxically, it feels like a bondage, the text says, a never-ending cycle.
And that comparison to raising goo.
Oh, that's chilling. That parasitic worm from Meow folklore that you have to keep feeding or unleashing, otherwise it turns on you and eats you.
Yeah. It implies the power isn't just a tool anymore. It's almost alive, demanding, addictive.
So the skill saved him, gave him power, but now it's this constant burden, this internal struggle.
Precisely. The double-edged sword again. An endless need to absorb, circulate, or face agonizing consequences. It reinforces that idea. Unchecked power, even accidental power, can be its own kind of prison.
Is he becoming a host for this power? Like the goo comparison suggests, losing his free will to its demands.
That's the terrifying question the comparison raises, isn't it? Has he escaped one prison only to be bound by another internal one? Does he ever truly master it, or is he always fighting this internal parasite? It's a really unsettling prospect.
Okay, so he's traveling as this blustering General Wu, dealing with his internal power surges, and then he runs into the Hengshan sect nuns.
Right, a group of them. And he overhears them talking.
Yeah, finds out they're on a mission to defend the Bixie Sword Manual, Pixie AGM here, from the Devil Cult. And the cult has set an ambush.
The very cult he just escaped, led by the guy who offered him a job.
Exactly. So these nuns are walking right into a trap. And Ling Hu Chang, despite wanting to avoid trouble, wanting to stay hidden.
His protective instinct kicks in, his basic decency.
Yeah, he can't just let it happen. So he uses his general persona to warn them.
But subtly, right, he can't blow his cover.
Brilliantly subtle. He acts like a clumsy, complaining oaf. Loud snoring, complaining about the path, tripping accidentally, all while dropping hints about the ambush spot. It's a masterclass in misdirection.
It really highlights his innate heroism, doesn't it?
Yes.
Even as an outcast, wronged by the orthodox sects, he still protects innocent people like Yulin. Using that foolish persona to deliver vital warnings shows his intelligence, his quick thinking, and that core selflessness.
Drawing attention to himself as a buffoon so they hopefully listen but don't suspect him.
Exactly. Pure compassion, huge personal risk.
And then the ambush happens. Just as he warned, devil cult attacks, poison darts, rolling boulders, the works.
Brutal and sudden.
And Ling Hu Chang, still as the general, gets drawn into the fight. Reluctantly.
And his fighting style. It's weird, right? Because of the absorbed star power?
Totally weird. He's using his Dugu Nine Swords principles, no fixed form, but it's supercharged by this immense chaotic internal energy. And he's using a dull sword sheath.
A sheath. Seriously.
Yeah. Delivering these clumsy, awkward-looking blows.
Mm-hmm.
But they're devastatingly effective. He's knocking guys out accidentally, not even aiming for pressure points.
Yeah.
Both sides are just astonished.
They must think he's either insane or some kind of hidden master with an incomprehensible style.
Probably both. The devil cult even uses bewitching cloth, Mihun Duyao, to try and incapacitate the nuns.
Nasty stuff. Knockout drugs or something.
Yeah. But Ling Hu Chan's bizarre sheath-wielding style just keeps creating openings, disrupting the attack, allowing the nuns to escape the worst of it.
It's a fantastic display of that raw power, isn't it? The absorbed star law combined with Dugu Nine Swords' formlessness. He's totally unpredictable. And again, that moral dilemma fighting the very sect that courted him.
Shows his unwavering line, he won't cross it.
Choosing righteousness, even in disguise.
But during the fight, Dingjing Shitai, the Hengshan leader, she fights hard.
A strong figure, resolute.
Yeah, but she's overwhelmed eventually. Too many attackers. And rather than be captured...
She tries to take her own life.
Yeah, but she's saved at the last second by the arrival of the Songshan sect people. Another Orthodox group showing up.
But she's badly wounded.
Gravely wounded. And later, she dies. In Ling Hu Chang's arms.
Oh, wow. That's heavy.
It is. And in her final moments, her eyes clear. She recognizes him. Not the general, not Ren Waxing, but Ling Hu Chang, the discarded disciple of Huashan.
She sees through it all.
And with her dying breath, she entrusts her remaining disciples to him, asks him to take care of them, a sacred promise.
That's incredibly powerful. A moment of sacrifice, but also profound trust. A respected Orthodox leader trusting an outcast, someone labeled a demon collaborator.
Yeah. Why do you think she does that?
Maybe in that final clarity, she sees his true nature, past the rumors, past the disguise. She sees the person who tried to warn them, who fought to protect them, even clumsily. It's an act of faith that transcends factional lines.
It definitely reinforces that theme of blurred lines between good and evil. And it solidifies Ling Hu Chang's role, doesn't it?
Mm.
Not just a survivor, but now a protector. A reluctant hero with a real burden.
Absolutely. It's a turning point. He can't just wander off now. He has a responsibility.
So with this promise weighing on him, the Hengshan disciples, now his responsibility.
Yeah.
He ditches the General Wu Tiande disguise for good.
Makes sense. He kind of blew his cover as a useless oaf during the fight, even if accidentally.
Right. He buries the uniform, the beard. He can't be Wu Tiande anymore after showing that kind of skill. So now he's just Ling Huchang again, but with this new charge.
Or reluctant shepherd.
Exactly. He accompanies the nuns to Fuzhou, making sure they get there safely, fulfilling the promise. And it's ironic, isn't it? He never wanted responsibility, always the carefree wanderer.
And now he's carrying the weight of a sect, pretty much.
Yeah, he's not just looking out for himself anymore, he's their guardian.
And that marks a huge step in his growth, his transformation, from just surviving to protecting, accepting this burden out of pure compassion and that promise. His external journey, shedding the disguise, mirrors this internal shift.
But even after this, even after doing the right thing, that absorbed star great law, it's still there, isn't it, till affecting him.
Oh, yeah. The struggle continues. He feels those unsettling effects, that addictive pull. He starts to really understand why Ren Wuxing found it irresistible.
Once you start, you can't stop.
That seems to be the implication. He keeps thinking back to that goo comparison, that feeling of being bound to something powerful but potentially self-destructive, a path you can't easily leave.
So delivering the nuns safely is a victory, but his internal battle isn't over.
Not at all. He successfully gets them to Wuxiang Temple in Fuzhou, fulfilling his promise to Dingjing Shitai. A truly selfless act.
A real moment of heroism.
Definitely. And the narrative kind of leaves him there, doesn't it? No longer trapped by physical chains or a dark tomb.
But maybe bound by something else?
Perhaps. Bound by the very power that freed him, the demands of the absorbed star law, and bound by these new responsibilities he took on. His story isn't really about defeating one big bad guy, is it?
No, it feels more complex, navigating this messy world where good and evil aren't always clear-cut.
Exactly. Where heroism pops up in unexpected places, demands unexpected things, and really forges character through adversity. His journey makes him and us question power, morality, and what freedom truly means. #outro.
Wow. What an incredible deep dive into Whispers of the Heart. From that dark, awful dungeon, Ling Huchang finds this power that saves him, but also burdens him profoundly.
Yeah, a real double-edged sword.
He goes from despairing prisoner to this accidental general, then a reluctant protector, defying expectations, challenging assumptions the whole way. It's a masterclass in adaptation, isn't it? Not just adapting to survive, but adapting who he is.
Absolutely. And this story really shows how unexpected, even terrible circumstances can lead to real self-discovery, the emergence of these unlikely heroes. Ling Huchang's journey makes us think about where real strength comes from. Is it just martial skill? Or is it moral conviction, adaptability, compassion, even for people who maybe wronged you?
That resilience of spirit.
Exactly.
So what's the takeaway for you, our listener? Maybe it's a reminder that sometimes the biggest burdens aren't the ones forced on us, but the ones we choose to carry for others. The responsibilities that really shape who we become.
That's a great point. Or maybe it's also that cautionary tale, about the binding nature of power, even accidental power. Once you taste it, once you start down that path, can you ever really go back, or does it just bind you, shape your destiny whether you want it to or not?
Yeah, that goo comparison really sticks with you.
It does. So what aspects of Ling Huchang's wild journey resonated most with you? And here's a thought. What would you do if you accidentally got the absorbed star great law, with all its power and all its terrifying costs?
It's definitely something to think about.
Something to mull over until our next deep dive.